So I'm very pleased this evening to have with me YB Darell Leiking, the Deputy President of Warisan, who's
Hey,
actively on the campaign trail. So YB Darell is actually standing to defend his seat for the hot seat of Penampang. Penampang is traditionally seen as the heart of the Kedazan Dusung politics in Sabah. So YB Darell, so tell me, what does Warisan's offering that is different from all the other political parties in Sabah? What is so special about Warisan?
thank you, James, and hello to everyone. Thank you for giving me the chance to explain what Warisan is all about. This election, after going through the partnership we've had with other components like Pakatan Harapan and what have you, and for Shafi, who was with BN before, and myself with PKR before, we had in this election decided to go on our own to offer Sabahans, as well as our friends in Semenanjung, Malaysia, um, the opportunity to have a political party that is not aligned or not involved with any other coalition, but with the focus, sole intention of ensuring that the Malaysian Agreement 1963, as well as all the rights of Sabah to fiscal policies, to fiscal control, including, and I would like to stress this out, to ensure that no kleptocrats will be released from prison, no possibly the discontinuance of any court cases that they are facing. So these will be the conditions that we'll put in the situation where we will form a federal government together.
Right. So there's a lot of talk in Kuala Lumpur now that maybe on the Malayan side, none of the coalitions will get a majority. So they'll be looking towards Sabah and Sarawak to form some sort of a federal government. So it is taken for granted that on the Sarawak side, it will probably be GPS because they will be the biggest bloc. What do you think is going to happen in Sabah? How well is the campaign going, and how well do you think Warisang will do?
I believe, thank you, James. I believe the rising of this awareness of the East, from the East, is very evident. The only thing is, there's still a lot of explanation to do because a lot of Sabahans have somehow been subdued or conditioned to think that we cannot do without our West Malaysian political parties to form the federal government. The Sarawakians look at it differently. They want to become the entity or the bloc that will decide who becomes the federal government, who will be able to be accepted as prime minister. Now, Sabah, albeit it might be late, it might be difficult to explain, but we should have the same confidence, the same in Bahasa Malaysia, keyakinan, the same mission as our fellow Sarawakian brothers. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, it's tough. I've met a lot of people and we've explained to them again and again. And just this morning, I received a text from a very hardened supporter of Pakatan Harapan. And he said, I've convinced myself, my wife, and my daughter, but I've yet to convince my uncle and my auntie. So he's going to do it in the next few days because a lot of people have been subdued to think without the West Malaysian Party, you cannot do. But we're saying our neighbors in Sarawak, whatever you think of them, they have shown that they can do.
All right. Now coming back to the current campaign, so the talk in the Kopitiam in KK and Sandakan everywhere is that Sabah, unlike all the other states, will be completely split because there are sort of four big entities fighting it: Warisan, Pakatan Harapan, Barisan Nasional, GRS. On paper, GRS and Barisan are one group, but we know on the ground they are different group. Where do you think Warisan will come out of this?
Well, we would hope that Sabahans and also our friends from outside of Sabah will be able to encourage the Sabahans to think, as I mentioned earlier, like our Sarawakian brothers and sisters, to ensure that the Sabah bloc will be created. Then we have a hope that the way the federation was formed in 1963 can be realized, whereby the three entities today, the three entities that are left, Sabah, Sarawak, West Malaysia, and of course formerly Singapore, are able to chart the future of the nation, the future of the federation. And what more, James, one of the things that we want to offer Sabahans are, just imagine if we are able to take control of our fiscal policy, that we will be able to get all the 21 claims that we made during our time as Pakatan Warisan federal government and make it happen. And imagine we can then copy. I like to use the word copy, if not replicate, the success of the educational system in Sarawak. So that will build new type of Sabahans who will be highly skilled, who will be amongst the potentials of the new industries that will bring into Sabah, provided that we get hold of our fiscal control of our state.
Good. Now, coming back to your own individual fight now in Penampang, what is interesting about your contest is essentially it's a two-man contest. Forget about all the rest. So it's really about you, Deputy President Warisan, against the incoming President Apko. So how is your campaigning so far? What are the sort of impressions that you have? Of course, you're a bit biased, but we expect that.
Well, I think we can't discount the other candidates as well. All other candidates, all four of us here, have probably equal chance. But I would say Pakatan Harapan, with a huge machinery that they have, because they're combined together with PKR, DAP, Amana, Muda, plus APCO, they are a formidable force for us to counter as well. Then you have the GRS, the hidden, the face mask of PBBM or Perikatan Nasional, GRS. They are even more financially oiled, because you must remember they were just government just before Ismail Sabri became Prime Minister. So they would have some loyalty in the civil service. They will still have probably a war chest that we don't have. Now, the other one is Barisan Nasional combining forces with GRS, that face mask of Perikatan Nasional in Sabah, are working together. So you can imagine two groupings of very well-oiled machinery, very huge machinery, contesting against us in Penampang. James, just to tell you, I was just looking at the news today, how Barisan Nasional and Perikatan Nasional are fighting each other in Peninsula. And they are both promoting the Prime Minister nominee, such as Ismail Sabri or possibly Zahid or KJ for BN, and Muhyiddin or what's his name? The past president, Hadi Awang, as possible president. Now, can you imagine, in Sabah they're working together? We should ask them who's their Prime Minister nominee. Since they are very clear in Peninsula, but in Sabah they are not. So who is Sabah's GRS BN combined nominee? So it's a tough fight, but I'm not going to give up. And this is how we were when we first contested in 2013 as an opposition member candidate for Parliament. We were fortunate to have been given the trust and we won. And James, in 2018, we were also as an opposition candidate against the Barisan Nasional. Coincidentally also, James, just to share with you, did you know that APCO, the party, the nominee party for Pakatan Harapan in Penampang, which is APCO, were the same people who fought against us in 2013 and who disagreed with Anwar being Prime Minister in 2013. So we won. And then in 2018 as well, the same party representing Barisan Nasional, APCO, also said no Anwar, no Pakatan. So you see how the world has turned. We're not saying no Anwar, no Pakatan. We're saying just no relationship with any Malaya-based party during this election, because we want to put our conditions when we form the federal government. So now you have APCO representing Pakatan Harapan saying Pakatan and Anwar. See how the world has turned.
Yes. Well, you know, right? The thing about Sabah politics is twists and turns in every corner.
Definitely. But we are
Thank
focused.
you very much, YB.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know you're very busy running for
your. Can I just have a last say,
election.
James? I just want to say this. We have been accused of Warisan not having any focus because we don't have a premier nominee, we don't have a prime minister candidate, and what have you. We are very focused on Sabah. I hope that people understand that. We are very focused on exporting multiracialism and also the respect of all religion from Sabah to West Malaysia. And we are very focused that a new Malaysia can be born out of a combination between Sabah, Sarawak, the Borneo Bloc, and of course the Malaya Bloc. Terima kasih. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much, YB. Good luck.
Thank you again. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.